Welcome to another episode of the Rooter Marketing Podcast. Today we have San Francisco's finest, Isaac Raffaelli of SplashFix Plumbing. And having worked with SplashFix Plumbing for some time now, I can tell you that what Isaac is doing in the South Bay area is the real deal. Coined as plumbers with a splash of personality, SplashFix Plumbing is dedicated to being the go-to plumber for every family and local business across the vibrant San Francisco peninsula. Their responsive services are designed to handle the full spectrum of plumbing services with precision and efficiency. On this episode, Isaac shares the ins and outs of residential homes in San Francisco, revealing the common challenges they present, and exploring the evolution of the plumbing industry from the tools of yesterday to today's modern equipment. And finally, we talk about the specialized approach that sets SplashFix Plumbing apart and the brand's vision for the future, proving why SplashFix Plumbing is more than just a plumbing service. So let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, founder and owner of SplashFix Plumbing, Isaac Raffaelli. Isaac, let's start with a splash by taking a deep dive into your plumbing journey and the pivotal moments that led to the birth of SplashFix Plumbing.
Okay. My whole plumbing journey started in the year 2000, which is crazy to think how far back that was. And, just a guy looking for a job ended up finding a job as a shop boy. What is a shop boy? A shop boy is a kid that doesn't know anything about plumbing, but gets asked to sweep up and put away fittings and stock shelves and clean up trucks and drive trucks and deliver plumbing material and parts. And while that job seems really introductory, it's actually a great start for, the making of a plumber, or to get the making of a plumber. You get to know fittings and you get to talk to plumbers and understand lingo, and because it is kind of a language that you need to pick up. So I did that for 2 or 3 years. So 18, 19, 20, I was 20, I guess, when I started my next transition from there. But during that time, just delivering plumbing parts to plumbers all over the Bay Area. That's what I did. And I liked it. I didn't know quite yet that I wanted to be a plumber, but I just kept moving forward. I didn't have another opportunity or another job that I really was after, so I just did that. And then shortly thereafter, I got pushed out to the field. In the early 2000s, there was a big track home boom. That's where I first learned how to plumb, was on track homes. So out here in South City, in San Bruno, in Daly City, in Belmont, those are all places where I was able to learn how to plumb houses. And that's where I got my introduction into plumbing. So shop boy, then became a plumber out at a residential site. And then after that, obviously the next goal was to get into the apprenticeship program. So I took a test, got into the apprenticeship program, and then became an apprentice. And then the track home stuff sort of dried up. So I pivoted, went back to the hall, signed the books as a first year apprentice, and then hooked up with a guy named Andrew, which is funny to talk about him now because he's like my plum daddy. Like, it's funny when guys take you under their wing, you become like their son on the job, which I know sounds weird, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing. You're hanging out with this person 40, 50, 60 hours a week. This person yells at you. This person tells jokes with you. This person really, if you get a good one, they're going to take you under their wing and they're going to really show you the ropes and show you how to be a good mechanic and be a good plumber. So I got lucky in the sense that I got hooked up with an owner who also worked. So working side by side with him, I got to watch him interact with customers, clients, and we did new construction. We did tenant improvement. We've basically said yes to everything plumbing related. And, and he took me under his wing, took me everywhere he went. And everything I did, he critiqued until the point where he had nothing to critique anymore. And then I was set, and then I was good. So the apprenticeship, once you get to about third or fourth year apprenticeship, you start becoming really expensive. And because he was competing with non-union, I sort of priced myself out. So he had to lay me off. We're still friends to this day. I actually love him. He's a great guy. But so I had to leave. So I got sent out on my own, went back to the union hall, went and signed up for another gig, and then got placed on a a condo. So we started doing condos. There was a big condo boom where these giant buildings were going up, and we started plumbing condos, and I got a little taste of big commercial, right? So we're looking at my experience as a shop boy, then moving on to track homes, and then after that, working with a really small shop doing custom homes, remodels, tenant improvement stuff, and then boom, I get placed on a big commercial site, big-ish commercial. Condos are still not considered huge. It was metal frame, not wood frame, so more commercial stuff. But went from there, did that for a couple years, and then turned out, and took a test after 5 years. Our apprenticeship is 5 years. Took a test after the 5 years was up. That's 2 nights a week for 5 years straight while you work. So you've also got to turn in, X amount of hours worked per year to qualify to graduate to the next phase. And then after that, actually, I went back to school to learn how to detail. So I saw a webinar on AutoCAD, and these guys were plumbing using computers. And I thought that was freaking awesome because I actually like to play video games. So it turned out, which means I finished school, went back to school the following year. So this is year 6, and I went back another year, so year 7. So 2 years after I turned out, went back to school and then learned how to use AutoCAD. And then 1 year after that, I got a job as a detailer, which means I was getting paid to draw on the computer as opposed to out in the field spinning wrenches, which at the time I thought was freaking awesome because I'd never had a job where I didn't go home tired and filthy. And I always used to look at white collar guys and I was jealous. So I thought, man, here's my ticket. Now I can go to the office just like all those guys. I actually did that for 3 years. Before then, I became a manager and started running a detailing department. So then I was sort of still detailing and managing bigger size projects. So total length behind the mouse was 6 years. And all during this time, I still had sort of the energy to work and want to be in the field. And so what I decided to do was build a car because I had to do something physical. Now, I like to exercise and work out. And while that did quench my physical needs, I still wanted to create. I still wanted to build stuff because I forgot how much I needed that in my life. So I got a bug up my butt and decided, you know what? I always want to build a car. I'm going to build a car. So still detailing, decided to build a car. And here's the kicker. And this is even why I bring this up, is because in order to build that car, I had to figure out ways to make extra cash. So I actually became an instructor at my hall to pick up extra money. So 2 days a week, I was back at my union hall as an instructor, teaching people how to use programs like Bluebeam, AutoCAD, a little bit of Revit at that time, Navis. Now, maybe you don't know the names of these programs, but these are all real common programs within the industry. So, construction industry, engineers use these programs, but it's all construction based. So went back to do that. And then also at the same time, I became an instructor at the hall as an apprentice teacher, so an apprentice instructor, and then started. I did that for a couple of years, and then on a national level, because I kind of found myself in this weird niche where I knew how to use these programs, and everybody was just getting started on this stuff. I then went back and taught folks how to use some of those programs to help them with their curriculums, so they can use these programs to help teach their apprentices, which we thought was cool. So in our area, right, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. In our area, I feel like we're probably, I don't want to say ahead of the curve, but like we're one of, I guess, or all the urban areas, I would say, because I met up with guys from New York and Chicago and, some of the more well-known places, and they were also ahead of the curve. So I'd say that the urban areas were starting to really implement technology in prefabrication. Yeah. So then we started teaching on how to use this stuff. So it was me and a few other guys, and we were all kind of in the same boat. We're all detailers and we all wanted to be instructors. Anyways, so because I started wanting to build that car and be creative, it sort of led me into these other directions because I needed extra money. And in another direction that led me in was Angie's Leads, which, so what I used to do is I'd get on Angie's Leads, I just post, hey, I'm a plumber. If you need anything, I can help you out. So I started doing side work, and I was doing garbage disposals and faucets and things like that on my spare time to try to get extra cash. And what I realized is that I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process of meeting new people, having conversations with those people, and then helping them out with the problem that they had. And then at the end of that, I got paid, and I felt like I made a friend. And I just thought that whole transaction was really nice and I enjoyed it. It just always kind of hung in the back of my mind that like, I feel that I enjoyed that more than the job that I had currently. So the more that I did those jobs, the more that I understood that, okay, there's something here. I think I want to pursue this. Not before I finished my car. I had to finish that car. So I finished the car, and believe it or not, I actually sold it. So it took me 2 years to build it, and it took me about a week to get rid of it. And I knew right away that the obsession with the car was awesome, but it wasn't really a good investment of my time. And I think what I was really yearning was a creative path. And that's why I built the car in the first place. And I feel like I built that car, and what it really did for me was, for one, it told me that I could do, and I say I built the car, right? I've never really worked on a car before that. Actually, changing the oil is really the furthest I'd ever gone as far as working on cars. I go from that to literally taking so it was a 65 Chevelle. So it was a classic car. I stripped the thing down to nothing and built it back up with modern day parts. And I actually got it running, and I could drive it, and the turning signals work. And I mean, I built a car. It was badass. And I did it all off YouTube and just wanting to do it. And I figured it out. And it really woke me up and made me realize that, hey, if I want something bad enough, I could just go and do it. So sold it right away because I knew that I had to do something different. I knew that wasn't it. While it was fun and awesome, it was continuing to take up my time. And I just knew that the return on investment there really wasn't there. I was starting to put more time in it than the vehicle was worth. And it wasn't it. And then I got to sit next to a guy that used to be a service plumber, and all he could talk about was previous jobs and how much he missed it. So on our lunch breaks, we would go off on these walks, and all we would do is talk about how awesome it would be if we had our own plumbing company and the freedom that we'd have. And I mean, we just dreamed of it because we're sitting in cubicles, staring at screens in meetings all day, parking in the same parking spot, going to the same cube, seeing the same people, getting on the same computer and looking at the same screen, talking about the same stuff. It just was not for me. And I just had to create something from nothing. And that's what was really going to do it for me. And so I decided to sell my car, get some money. I dropped some overhead stuff. I kind of planned my escape, right? So dropped some overhead, went and got my license. I got a contractor's license. So we're in California. So we're required to have 4 years minimum experience. And then we qualify to take a contractor's test, and then we can get our C36 license. And that's what I went for. Took the test, passed it, got my license, and we, went through the ropes. And mind you, at this time, I started it with another guy, the same guy that we kept having conversations with, right? So I put the money up, and he was going to go do the labor, things like that. We noticed right away so I noticed right away that it probably wasn't going to work out. Our visions didn't quite align. And, now after talking with, lots of people who've been in the same position, it seems like partnerships are, it's pretty rare that they work out. So that's what, unfortunately, that didn't pan out between the two of us. And, it's sad that we don't talk today, but, it's how it goes. These are just life lessons. But anyways, planned to escape, dropped the overhead, sold the car, took a test, got a license, got a van. I mean, at the time it was during COVID. We couldn't get any vans. We literally went out to Chicago to go grab our van and drove it back down. And then bam, we're taking photos. We came up with a name, and just like that, we have a service plumbing business with a van and tools, and we got a guy out there selling work. It was crazy. And that was 2 years ago. So after that, I went on my own and just figured it out. And the service, and still to this day. So this is year 2, and the purpose that I have now with this business, and the opportunity to create is always here, and the opportunity to learn. And I mean, I'm constantly making mistakes, but man, I'd have it no other way. This has been the absolute funnest and most hardest thing that I've ever been a part of, but I'm super glad I did it. I'm really excited to see my vision come to life, and I'm really excited to provide the best service that we can and watch this company flourish and see how it goes.
Now, with your extensive experience, and I know there are different parts of the area that all have different styles, but It would be interesting to get your perspective on the different areas you serve within the San Francisco Peninsula, specifically the different types of homes within those areas. In short, can you describe the different types of homes and the different types of plumbing within those homes that you experience within the San Francisco Peninsula?
Yeah, you know what? This is a great question. So we're in every house in every area in every neighborhood, from the Golden Gate Bridge all the way to Palo Alto, in some cases, even down by the coast, Half Moon Bay, Montera Beach, Moss Beach. And then we're heading out as far as, going past Redwood City and Palo Alto. We're going all the way out to Marin. In some cases, we're crossing the Golden Gate Bridge and heading out over Marin. And then in the East Bay, we're going to Berkeley. And, we're a smaller company. So, and we have clients that are Bay Area based, like centralized, Peninsula, San Francisco. But, here and there, we get customers that refer us to their friends. And some of those friends live in the East Bay, across the bridge in Marin, or even further down, like towards San Jose. And, we accommodate because, we want to help out. And, while, commuting, obviously, these trips take a little longer, but man, we oblige. We don't, we just say yes. When we have customers and they refer us, we take care of them. But, that being said, part of the programs that we use to sort of organize all of our customers and invoices and, things like that. So we use a field management software. And let's start from the beginning. So a customer calls us and they would like to schedule an appointment to acquire our services. I take down some information. So it's a first, last name, email, phone number, and an address. So as soon as I type in the address, what happens? I get to see the front of the house. And then I also get a little history on that house. Now, why would I, a plumber, need to know the history on a property? Well, a few things. One of them, and let's be honest, some of the houses that predate, 1970, some of them may have asbestos. A lot don't, to be honest, but those are things that contractors like to know. But the other thing too is I get an idea of what kind of home you have. And also I get to know how old your house is. And that's always good because, if it's pre-1900s, for instance, which we deal with a lot in the city, I know that, when you start talking about certain problems, we're going to have to, start really scratching our head as far as like, okay, do you or do you not have natural gas lines ran to your light fixtures? If you do, and we smell gas, we might have to check some more piping. So I should set a little bit time aside for that. So, it's just handy. It's just good to know. But the other thing it's doing is it's really brushing up my knowledge of, these different style houses. I mean, Victorians, craftsmen, Spanish colonials, mid-century moderns, and even like the newer homes that are, tech integrated, which, really cool. If you're into tech and, new style homes, we run into different stuff all the time. And, it's not only tech that's getting innovated, it's also plumbing. And I don't know too much about the electrical side, but the other trades, but, I have conversations here and there, and it's interesting to know that it's not just the stuff we see day to day. It's not the Amazons. It's not the, Elon Musks. And while those things are all cool and those things are constantly evolving, dude, so is plumbing. And, and it sounds funny. It's like, who cares about a new toilet? But, they have toilets that light up, and they have toilets that are now integrated inside your walls, and you don't see the tanks, and it buys you some more space. And they got a button that'll open up the seat, and then it's got a light in there. So you can keep the lights off in the middle of the night. And then they've got little sprayers, bidets, things like that. So, and I'm just talking about toilets, but then, you sidestep to tankless water heaters and now heat pump water heaters, and they're operating off of cell phones. But anyways, I can go off about all the cool, new, innovative tech solutions that are getting implemented into our plumbing industry, which I love. I'm all about it. But but getting back into the homes, if we're working in the city, and a lot of the time, so let's just kind of go and have a discussion in regards to these beautiful homes that we get to work in. So one of them, and here's the thing, as soon as you mention it, it's like everybody knows, right? So Victorians, right? So we'll see a lot of Victorians in the Haight District. And that's generally where we work on. And these houses are some of them are enormous. Like you have no idea. You see the front of them, they don't look like much. And then you open the door and they just keep going and they go up and they go back and they are just awesome. And be honest, most of the time when we deal with these customers, they want to preserve, they want to keep everything as original as possible. They have original fixtures, they have original porcelain. And in some cases, I'm sure most people haven't seen it, but they have these chain pool flushes. So you'll see like a tank instead of the standard tank that you'd see low, sort of in front of you or behind you if you're sitting on the toilet, right? But instead of that, they'll have a tank sitting way up high, call it 6 feet off the ground with a giant chain and a pool handle. And and the door will be labeled water closet, right? Which, I mean, man, it doesn't get much cooler than that. And in some cases, I'll be honest, I have fixed these things for free. Because I know I just mentioned that people like to preserve. However, some of that stuff you can't really find parts for. So you got to get real creative. And so while not everyone works on them, in some cases, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So when I show up and they ask me to rip this stuff out, I just tell them like, look, I'll tell you what, I will fix this thing and get it running. Just promise me you're not going to rip it out because there can't be too many of them. And like I said, I love that stuff. So I will find the parts. There are special websites that I know about where we can preserve some of this old stuff and keep it around and keep the water closets intact, which I love saying that. But yeah, so you'll see those in the older style Victorian homes. Now, not everywhere has the Victorians, but you generally will see them in the Haight District. But really, let's get into, I mean, we can talk about, let's see, I mean, there's so many different style homes, but let's get into Craftsman's. I mean, Craftsman's are really popular in the suburbs. Just a real emphasis on craftsmanship, right? So what does that mean? That means we're going to be seeing more exposed MEPs, right? What's an MEP? Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, right? So we're going to be seeing more of that. So more exposed rafters, more raw materials, more raw wood. If it has paint, it's probably going to be clear so you can actually see the material. There's going to be more of an emphasis in these homes on natural materials. And also it's like a craftsman's time to shine, so to speak. So if you think about those craftsman style homes and you look at them, they're a lot more simple, plain, but the detail is all in the, so to speak, it's in the craftsmanship, not hiding much. So really cool. And, in the more upscale neighborhoods, you'll see the contemporary homes, right? You'll see those in newer developments and, some cutting edge materials. You usually see some pretty innovative stuff in these sleek, like, I don't know, what would you call them? Minimalist aesthetics, I guess, so to speak, and then just kind of moving up to the newer style, tech integrated homes, right? So, you're kind of going from these old style and we have seen folks sort of try to integrate the old with the new, but generally the Victorians will keep them really, original because it makes the most sense. I mean, even financially, it makes the most sense to keep them that way. And most of the people that are buying them are looking for that anyways. So, but then now you talk about the tech integrated homes where, in some cases they're either flattening out the property and starting fresh or taking an old home, stripping it down to studs and then starting over. We've seen elevators in homes. I've got a friend he's an electrician, and some of the photos he sends over to us as far as what he's doing with lighting and integration with that, with the LED and, with the ability to operate everything from a phone. And man, even some of the, it's funny to talk about toilets and have such an interest in things like this, like water heaters and toilets and faucets and things that most people really don't care about. Man, when I see them, I get excited because I just think like, man, hopefully I have an opportunity to install them. You keep installing the same toilet, you're going to want to install a different toilet. Really cool to see. Anyways, I'm really excited about what I do, and I'm excited about being in the industry at this time because we get to see all the new, and we're 100 years past some of the houses that were built, and we get to be a part of that too. And I get to fix those up and maintain and preserve and help preserve those homes as well. And but then also be a part of this new tech wave and like really be ahead of the curve with these new innovations. And and I'm constantly doing research too to see what's out and what's new. And we're going to shows and we're checking out what these guys are doing just to stay ahead of the curve. And I know that in most cases we're doing service work, right? So we're just repairing, and here and there we're replacing, but we always got that second option for like, I have a tab on my price book that's just called cool stuff. And here and there I'll just present that stuff. I go, hey, you ever thought about a filtered shower head? Most people have never heard of it. We've got shower heads that have Bluetooth would you say that? Bluetooths. Anyways, it's a Bluetooth device that's also a shower head. And it's waterproof and it's a great speaker. So, I mean, think about that, right? You remember you used to hang a stereo or some kind of a radio device in the shower, but it would always get destroyed. Well, now you can get a shower head that literally just spins on. You press a button and it's Bluetooth capable, and it also rinses the soap out of your hair, which is freaking awesome. So, I'm just stoked to be a part of this. I'm glad to be a plumber in the Bay Area. It's challenging. It's interesting. It's fun. The people are cool. I'm meeting people from all over the world, right? Because you would think you're in the city, you're meeting a lot of local people. It's actually, I would say 20% local. 80% of the people I deal with are from somewhere else. And I think it's cool. I think it's awesome because I get to talk to people from other places, and I get to hear, other people's opinions on different things. And I don't know, it just makes it way funner. That's what I think.
Everyone loves a good story. Could you recount one of the most memorable plumbing challenges you've encountered in a San Francisco Peninsula home and how you navigated its resolution? Or perhaps a feel-good story. Once upon a time, you helped somebody who really needed help. So perhaps two stories, one challenging one and one a feel-good story. I'll let you decide.
All right, I got one. This one actually happened fairly recently, where I felt like if I had a cape in the van, I would have threw it around my neck and ran around the block, because I felt like I was able to help, and come in and save the day. I felt like I was able to come and save the day, which it doesn't always happen. I'm a plumber. I'm not a superhero, even though sometimes I get to feel like one here and there. That's one of the perks of this job, I guess, helping people out in moments of stress, which is cool. So just getting to the story. So in this one, this was a older lady. I'm going to tell two stories, but in this case, it was an older lady, and she had gotten an estimate from a person and went with their job. So what was she trying to do? She was trying to, she wanted to install a tankless water heater in her garage. So replace her standard water heater and replace it with a tankless water heater. Now she had gotten a few estimates, and she's living on a fixed income, so she's trying to be price conscious. Mind you, at this point that I'm talking about this story, she has still not contacted me, right? So she had contacted 3 other contractors, and she decided to go with the less expensive option. So these guys installed it, charged her. It worked for a little while, and then it didn't. And then it stopped working. And then, she tried contacting these guys. No response, no callbacks, nothing. And no hot water either. So I'm not sure how she decided to call me. But she contacted us, got a hold of me, and explained her situation. And I had just happened to be about a block away. So I said, hey, look, I'll head over there right now and let you know what you need to do. Or, take a look at the unit and just see what's going on. No problem. No charge, no nothing. She explained to me her situation. I was really close anyway, so I just decided, hey, I'm just going to stop over. Took a look at the unit and noticed right away violations. I mean, these guys. So with tankless water heaters, there's a few things that you need to do. For one, you need to route a bigger gas line. You need to run an independent circuit to the unit. It's got to be mounted in a certain way. The vent actually has to be, so I want to say graded up towards the exhaust, right? That's how plumbers would say it. But what that means is that the vent needs to be sloped in an up direction, so that way the condensation actually rolls back down to the unit and then drains out of the condensation drain that's below it. And then that condensate drain needs to also be routed to a drain. So there's a lot of technical things that you should be doing when you install these. The other technical part of it is you should also have it inspected by the city so you can maintain that value, right? I mean, she's spending a pretty penny making sure to do this thing right. And actually, this is good advice for everyone. The city inspectors, while you may think that they're expensive and not necessary, what they're actually there for is to protect the homeowners. So they're sort of your eyes and ears. They know what's up. You're hiring them to come and make sure that the contractors are doing what they're supposed to do. So, it is an added cost. However, if you've got an inspected unit and it's permitted, then you can include that in the sale of the home, which, so it adds value. That's good. So none of these things were done. So she is, now I wish I could say I did this for free. I couldn't do that. However, I gave her a massive discount. And, she explained to me what she could and couldn't spend. And I just said, hey, look, whatever you can spend, no problem. I'm going to take care of this. So I got the city involved. I got the permits pulled. I got all the piping that they had done ripped out. I had my guy come back and reroute a circuit. And then I got everything plumbed how it was supposed to, had the inspector come out, passed the inspection, got everything signed off, and she was all good to go. And I was able to get that done in a couple of days. So got her hot water back on, and she calls me here and there and tells me funny stories. Not all of them are appropriate, which is crazy because she's a little on the older side, but she's a funny lady and she's got a lot of good stories and she means well. So yeah. So, I got a friend out of it and I helped somebody in need. And, she didn't live too far away from my house anyway. So it wasn't a huge deal, but yeah. So that's one of the times where I felt like, hey, I may have saved the day here. Pretty good story. The other feel good story I would say is, so recently I got a call from, let's just say, a person that I know. And she explained to me that she had a lady that would come by and clean her house, and she'd been cleaning her house forever. And that recently this lady had a heart issue. Now, I want to say heart attack, but I don't actually know exactly what had happened. I just heard heart issues. Whatever it was, this lady was in bad shape, and she's a little older. I think she was in her early 80s. Husband had passed, no kids, no nephews, no nieces. She had no other family. And she lived in an apartment where the landlord was not wanting to fix certain things. So in this case, her faucet was leaking, drippy faucet, wasting water, and she was on the hook for the water bill. So the water bill was high, and she needed somebody to come out there and fix it. So I got the phone call. Of course, I obliged. I don't get asked to do these types of things often. So, if on a rare occasion I get asked to go do something on the house or to go help out, I mean, in this case, man, what would anybody have done? Right. So I went over there, took a look at it. We ended up replacing it, getting her a new faucet, and she was a really sweet old lady. And she went over some of her story, and I felt so bad. Anyways, we took a look at the rest of her plumbing just to make sure it was good before we took off. And we got her all squared away. So now she gets to enjoy a leak-free faucet, and we buttoned up a couple other things and made sure she was on her way. So yeah, so a couple good stories. Yeah, one of the perks. I don't always get to do this kind of stuff. I mean, we are in our infancy stage, right? So we got to charge for a lot of this stuff, and plumbing's not cheap. But here and there we get these phone calls, and we're obliged, and we're grateful that we can actually help out. So that's my stories.
Residential plumbing. Specifically residential plumbing, and specializing in residential plumbing gives SplashFix Plumbing a unique edge. How does this specialization enhance the homeowner's experience?
So there's a lot of things that set us apart. So specializing in residential plumbing services, we have to focus on something different. We can't, while we do focus on the plumbing issue at hand, it's no longer the main focus. The main focus is making sure that the homeowner is at ease, comfortable, has trust, and understands what their problem is through education that we provide, right? So, and I mean that we want to focus on the best experience possible for the homeowner, right? And how do we do that? So it's all going to start off by the first thing. First of all, we hope that brand awareness can get you to the point where you type in plumber near me, and what happens after that, you see our name and you click on the name. SplashFix, and it takes you right to a phone number, right? So that phone number is kind of the beginning of everything, really. Well, the marketing is, right? But now we've gotten you to the point where you're going to give us a call. So you've seen our logos, maybe you've heard about us, you've heard some good things, you've checked out our reviews, and now you actually have an issue or a question, and you're looking for a plumbing service. So you give us a call. And this is where it all starts off. So you are going to get in contact with our customer service representative. That's who you're going to talk to. And this person is not a plumber. This person is actually trained to have a conversation with you and to make sure that you have a really easy time getting onto our schedule, getting onboarded, and then we can get a technician out to your place as soon as possible. So we need to understand your issue so we could jot it down and get you on the schedule as fast and as easy as possible. That's the beginning of the service that we are providing to you. What happens next? Well, 30 minutes prior to the arrival of your technician, you're going to get a text or a message that, hey, so-and-so's on his way. He should be there in about 30 minutes. That's another great aspect, right? I mean, just a little message gets you time to prepare. You got somebody coming over your house. I mean, that's not always an easy thing. Maybe it's not clean, or maybe you're just not super comfy with letting a stranger into your house, which, we get, we understand, and we train for this kind of stuff because we know it's a pain in the butt. And this is exactly what you need to train for when you're dealing with residential service specifically, right? And we haven't even started plumbing yet. So, and this is why it's got to be focused on. You got to be good at this stuff. So then what are we doing? Okay, well, we are showing up in a clean van with a guy that's going to have on a clean uniform, and he's going to have an iPad with a bunch of information in it that he's going to share with you. So when he gets there, he's going to knock on your door. He's not going to ring your doorbell. He's going to knock. He's going to stand about 5 feet back from your front door. And he's going to have his hands out, and he's going to introduce himself. Hi, I'm Isaac. Very nice to meet you. I work with SplashFix, and I'm here to help you with your plumbing problem, right? We know you're not having a good day. We're just there to help. Okay, we're going to educate you, and we're going to offer some options. All right, so what's the next thing we're going to do? Well, we're going to slap on some booties, and we are going to take a walk through your house, and we're going to let you show us what the problem is. And once we see that problem, we're going to start poking around a little bit, and we're going to see what's going on. So what do you got going on? Okay, here's your issue. We're going to present a quick repair, which we don't always recommend, right? I mean, we want to get to the root of the cause so that way you never call us again, right? We love you. We hope you call us for the rest of your life for plumbing issues. However, if we just Band-Aid the issue, we know you're going to call us back, and you're not going to be happy. Well, you're just not going to be happy with a Band-Aid. You want a permanent solution, right? You want to make sure that this issue goes away. We should be installing 25, 50, 100-year stuff. That's how long, when we make repairs, that's what we're going for, right? Minus the water heaters. Those last for a little less time, but anyways. Right. So what are we going to do? We're going to present you with some options. So we're going to do repair, we're going to do rebuild, and we're going to do replace. And then you know what else we're going to do? We're going to give you the upgraded replace, right? So we're going to give you 4 options. Now, that's not every time, because every time is a different situation, but that's an optimal situation for us. Sometimes there's only one option. Sometimes, it just depends. But these are the things that we are focusing on, right? So education over persuasion all day. That's what we're focusing on. And we're making sure that our technicians are professional communicators, not just professional plumbers. They're professional communicators. And we're making sure over here that our guys have uniforms, that our vans aren't leaking oil, and we park in a parking spot, not in front of your house, not in your driveway, right? We're not doing any of that. We're showing up. We're being professional. We're inspiring trust. Right. And then we're going to go in there and we're going to fix the problem. We're going to show you that, hey, we're just here to educate. And, our main goal is to make sure that if ever you or anybody that you love or know have a plumbing issue, you know exactly who to call, right? You call us. Man, we are there. We want to develop a community of people that use our services and get to know us as people. Definitely knowing that SplashFix is here to help you out for everything plumbing related for the long haul. That's what we're after. So what's the difference, Nick? Residential plumbing specifically, it's everything. this is the white glove service for plumbing. Okay. Like, I mean, we are really trying to make sure that we are providing top-notch quality service and taking care of folks from the beginning to the end. And we're going to wrap it up with a review request because we got to have those. We got to make sure and get new customers. And the only way to do that is to make sure that we do a good enough job so that way people are leaving us great reviews. That's only going to make us, flourish down the road.
And we are wrapping things up here with Isaac Raffaelli of SplashFix Plumbing. Isaac, before I let you go, looking forward, what's your vision for SplashFix Plumbing's role within the community? And how do you plan to continue standing out in the oh-so-competitive landscape of the San Francisco Peninsula?
All right, let's get into this. So, as you want to know what the vision is for SplashFix. And I'll tell you right now, so my background, plumbing, right? Plumbing, piece of cake. Who doesn't know that I've been a plumber for the last 20 years? But did you know that for the 6 years before I started my business, I was actually a piping and plumbing detailer? And no, I didn't wash cars. So detail is another term for a guy who draws. So I went back to school and learned how to use programs like AutoCAD and Revit and Bluebeam and Nabis, and it's basically plumbing inside of a virtual world. And it's all in the attempt to build and design prefabricated parts for systems, right? Why am I telling you this? We live in San Francisco Bay Area. This is home of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Tesla, right? You name it, Google. And by the way, I've worked on all those buildings. I've literally designed plumbing systems that are inside Google and Apple. I didn't even mention Apple. I mean, we're in the mecca of tech. Everything tech related, everything that changed the world was literally created here. Well, what's funny is that a little smidget of that was influenced into the construction industry, which is like last to adopt technology, right? And I noticed that, and you know what? I noticed it during a really slow time. So I had a decision to make as a plumber during, I would say it was around 2010. Things got really slow. So what happens when things get slow? Well, you got to figure out how to separate yourself from the pack. So you have to learn things that other people don't know, right? Well, we all went through an apprenticeship. We can all plumb. We can all install pipe. Not all of us can braze med gas. Not all of us have welding certs for pipe welding. But the one I saw that nobody was doing was detailing, was using automated programs to draw piping systems within computers for prefabrication. Nobody. And so there it was. I found an angle, and then I learned stuff that not that many people knew how to do within my industry, right? I found out later that engineers had been using AutoCAD since the early 2000s. Actually, that technology has been out for a really long time. But within the construction industry, technology was like the last thing to really get adopted. So yeah, so I saw a webinar. Believe it or not, they came to our hall, and it was this giant screen, and this guy was plumbing in the computer. I was blown away, and I knew right away that I had to do that. So I went to school for 2 years, got certified to operate AutoCAD and Revit and other Autodesk products. Autodesk also home of Autodesk. Shout out to Autodesk. Okay. They're also based out of San Francisco, which is crazy. I've actually been to the Autodesk building in the city for events and training. It's freaking cool. And everybody around the United States and Canada and Australia, everybody uses Autodesk products I guess they're using their software to design prefabrication. What is prefabrication? We're designing buildings and building them in software before they even hit the job site, right? So we're literally building these in shops, prefabricating everything, shortening labor by 10x, right? It's all done with technology, and I got to be a part of that. If you think about the opportunity that I got, so that education that I got from AutoCAD and, running these programs, that gave me an opportunity. It opened so many doors for me because not that many people knew how to do it. And not that many people with my skill set, right? I already knew how to plumb. I've already been through the apprenticeship. And then now I went and learned how to use AutoCAD and Revit and learn how to implement technology within the construction industry. Boom, kicked open all kinds of doors. I became an instructor on a local level, an instructor on a national level, and then had job opportunities where guys were offering me 40% over my journeyman foreman pay. I had a car, I had a phone, I had all this stuff. And that was all just because I went out and learned how to use tech. Now, again, why am I bringing this up? Well, so when I started my service plumbing company for different reasons, right? But as soon as I got in, what I noticed was that nobody in the industry was leveraging technology, right? So I thought, oh my God, another opportunity. So now I can use my knowledge, right? So now I got the plumbing knowledge, and then I've also got some of the tech side. Not, I talk to guys that are in the tech industry. I'm nowhere near them skill-wise, but for a guy that knows what I know on the plumbing side, I'm just dangerous enough to utilize technology and leverage it in a way where other plumbing companies are not. And why would I even do that? I'll tell you why right now. Because the clientele that we're dealing with is mainly the folks that are working for these tech companies. We are dealing with, on a consistent basis, we are dealing with folks that work for Apple, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, quote unquote X, right? We are literally doing work for these folks. And do you think that they are going to be appreciative if I start writing down estimates on a notepad and taking a week to send back estimates and, not acknowledging them by their name in 2 months when they call me again for another service? Absolutely not. Because they know that the technology exists. They no longer want the inefficiencies of not being able to utilize tech. Right? Perfect for me. So what do? We get a field management software that leverages technology in a way where we can be super efficient right off the bat. It's awesome. It is awesome. And we can use technology everywhere. We can extract analytics to be more efficient. We are documenting equipment based on, the year it was installed. Like, let's say we go out to your house and we're going to open up your profile as a homeowner. We're going to document your first, last name, obviously email, phone number, address, and that's going to be kind of the root of it. And then what are we going to do after that? Well, right away, we'll know the year of your home. We will know what type of home it is. And then any special codes. Like, let's say I have plenty of customers that do not mind that we go inside their garages when they're not home, right? There's cameras everywhere. So, they don't mind, right? Because they got us on camera and we're okay with that. We totally understand why you would have that in place. That is just something we've grown to live with, because these tech guys all have smart homes, not just phones, smart homes, literally water heater and furnace, thermostat, all connected to their phone, along with their camera system, all hooked up to their phone, right? So they'll hand over codes. So we can implement those codes and put them on their profiles. And the other thing we can do is go around the home, snap photos of all your fixtures, place them in your database. So the next time you call us and go, hey, guest bathroom 2 has a toilet that continues to run. Boom. We hang up and we already know what to do, right? Well, first we get them on schedule. But after that, what do? I reference the photos that are attached to their profile. I go right to guest bathroom 2 bath. I look inside the tank because I've already snapped photos and I already know what part they need. Bam. My technician goes and picks it up, stops over, gives them a price, gets a signature on the iPad, right? Makes the repair, accepts payment on the spot. Tap to pay. Why is everybody not doing this? I have no idea, right? How do they get a hold of us? Google. So we're on Google, right? So we understand and learned how to be verified on Google, and we're there. And what are we doing? We're updating Instagram. We're updating Facebook. We are literally as up to date as you can be for a plumbing company. Well, put it this way. Okay, let's pivot on the technician side. I can coordinate and schedule my guys in the most efficient way. Let's say you give me a call and you are in Marin and I have a technician that's already, let's say he's on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge in the city. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a place that he could actually be that would be close. But you get what I'm going. You get where I'm going here. So I have trackers on the vehicles, and I can pull up maps where all my vans are. And when you give me a phone call, I can tell you what technician's by you and when he's going to be done. And I can schedule the correct technician to go to your place, and I can give you an ETA right on the spot. I can see exactly where he's at, when he got there, and I know what he's doing. I can give him a quick phone call, go, hey man, how long is it going to take for you to complete? Okay, cool. And I can give you a call, let you know that he'll be on his way, right? He's already close to there. I can see where he's at on the map. I don't even have to ask. These are all technologies that we know and leverage now as a plumbing shop, right? And the customers appreciate it because it's all efficient, it's all automated. And that's really the route that we want to go. And that's my vision, is like, bring technology into the plumbing service industry. Bring technology into the plumbing service industry, right? We can do that. I mean, we are now at a point where I can automate your maintenance plans on your water heater, where I don't even do anything. It just gets populated on the schedule a year in advance, and it pings you 30 days, 2 weeks, and then the day of, right? Before it's scheduled. So you asked me what my vision is, right? My vision is to implement technology into my business and make it the YouTube of plumbing businesses, if you will, or the Apple of plumbing businesses, if you will, right? Like, and I know that might sound crazy, right? Because we're small right now, but man, that's my vision. And I feel like other companies are not leveraging it that way. I mean, when you see our vans, that's what you're going to think. You're going to think, wow, these guys are up to date. I mean, they know what's going on, right? SplashFix.plumbing. We even dropped the .com, and we're just going .plumbing because nobody else is doing it, and we can do it. It's okay. We can do it, and nobody else is doing it. So, cutting edge, new, innovative. We're trying new stuff, and that's where I want to go. I feel like these old shops and these old companies are being ran by guys who are old school. And here's the thing, respect to those guys. They paved the way. They're doing it right. They've been doing it for longer than me. Tons of respect. I'm not knocking the way anybody does what they do. But what I can say is that we are going in a different direction, and we're moving with the times, right? And I don't want to get stuck in my ways. I want to keep trying new stuff. And as new products come out, I'm not saying I want to try them and implement them in my business right away. But man, if I could do some kind of a mock-up and just check them out, I'm always open-minded for new and innovative and fun ways to make this business efficient, and any way we can leverage technology to make the experience more pleasant for our customers, right? How cool was it when Amazon came out with, Amazon Prime, where you get a discount on the deliveries, and then now all of a sudden, anytime you need something, you just say it into your phone, you hit enter, boom, that thing gets delivered. I want my plumbing shop to be like that, right? Think about that. You got an issue, hit a button, and then bam, we'll just show up the next day or same day, right? I mean, that's where I want to go with this. That's where I want to take this. So, yeah, sorry to be so long-winded on this one, but I wholeheartedly feel like, I get psyched up. I'm excited for it because I know this is new. I know it's different, and I don't know, I'm just stoked, man. I love technology. I love new stuff. I love trying new things. I love experimenting with new ways to be efficient. I mean, I freak out on this stuff. I mean, you should see my vans. For one, you can eat off them the spot list, but two, I've organized my vans like McDonald's has organized their process on making burgers. Like, you know what I mean? I've got labels on every bin. I mean, I freak out on this stuff. So efficiency, avoiding steps, and making it easy for the customer that's what I want. So that's the vision. Hope you like it. I'll talk to you soon, Nick. Thanks, man.